You know who made it.
And we are live from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. And that's it for tonight. It's a Revenings Wednesday. Welcome to Wednesday, Revenue Party people. We've got the same hot topics, hot prizes, and a hot guest tonight to get into. But I'm tuning in, as you can tell, from a different area. I'm in Dallas with the High Level Summit tonight. And this whole entire week have been here. Unfortunately, our other guest, Charlie, who was going to come on tonight, had a family emergency. But ironically, our other guest is a heart surgeon and is very familiar with emergencies. So sometimes these things come up, right? And we're going to be talking about that. And, we'll bring Charlie on at a later date and just hope everything is okay with him and his family. But real quick, before we get into things tonight, I want to make sure and share a few things about our sponsors. So I just mentioned I'm at the High Level Summit, and High Level has been such a game changer for me. As most of you know, I was a chief marketing officer, worked in B2B, before that it was social media manager, marketing manager. So I used all the big SaaS tools and, the ones that cost $30,000 a year. And I loved them and they empowered me. And then when I started my own business, if I would have paid $30,000 a year for all the features that I know could exist, it would have put me out of business right away. And so when I found out that the tool I was previously using was going to charge me $300 just for a dedicated IP a month, I was like, heck to the no. I'm going to be stepping over here to High Level, which is only $97 a month. And I get all the bells and whistles for sales and marketing. And it just really empowered me. So it's been something that just fit into my life. And because of that, I went to invite their founder to come on the show. And it ended up in them sponsoring the show because I was so excited about the tool and they could see that and they love it so much. It's become a part of my whole system. And I want to empower you to make it a part of your system as well. So thank you for being here. And if you are interested in trying out a new platform that can help you grow your business, I'm talking website, email, CRM, all the things, automation. They just launched all these incredible features at the summit. And now that it's launched, I suppose I can start talking about it, which is they are going to have an AI employee, like so many other things. They have custom objects. If you know what that is, you know how powerful that is for your business. It means that basically those big SaaS tools are now irrelevant. We no longer need them. And so because affiliate marketing has been so helpful for me, especially with High Level, I want to help you become an affiliate. And, I'm all about give, because I know when I give, I'm going to create that receiving energy. So I just want to give and help you join the affiliate program at High Level 2. So if that's something you're interested in, just go ahead and start by signing up for a High Level free trial account by going to reveting.com/high level. You'll get an extended 30-day free trial if you use my affiliate link. And let's get you started. So we'll get you on the platform and we'll get you going, and then we'll turn you into an affiliate as well. So if you sign up with my affiliate link, then I'll give you 3 months of my Taking Up Space program free so that you can come and learn how to use High Level. All right. So on top of that, Cherry Assistant made this entire production possible. I apparently missed an email from Charlie earlier because I was at the High Level Summit, but when people just send things to me, but with the VA's help, I was able to send all of those emails and make this entire production happen so that the guests were aware and in communication with me, even if I wasn't checking, to make sure that, tonight could still happen. So thank you so much to Layla, who I know is here in the comments. You'll be seeing her cheering us on, asking you to click that heart. And also, if you're tuning in, where are you tuning in from? What town? And if you're hearing this on podcast, just go ahead and click that subscribe button, and we would love to continue to have you tune in as well. But also, let's give away some prizes. So I'm giving away lots of prizes tonight, and it's going to be a good night. And I want to introduce Dr. Karazi to you tonight. She, like I mentioned earlier, is a heart surgeon, and she is also a consultant. So first of all, can we just honor how important our heart is? Anyone have any heart stories? Start putting those in the comments for our guest tonight as I start showing you our prizes. So for tonight, the keywords you're going to want to start plugging in are tagging High Level. And if you do that, you're going to be entering to win a swag pack. Hashtag headset's going to get you a headset from Headset Advisor. And apologies from last week. Our winner, unfortunately, they went out of stock with the headset. That's the first time that's ever happened. So they found something of equal value to exchange to them, but it is a different headset this week. But yeah, put hashtag headset to enter to win the headset that Headset Advisor is sharing with the Winsday community tonight. Hashtag personal branding to enter to win my coaching program. And then hashtag revenue to enter to win our guest prizes. So I'm going to go ahead and give those a quick view right now, and you'll see them throughout the show. So we've got prize 1, prize 2, prize 3, and prize 4, the Heart of Fear. So I'm going to bring on Dr. Karazi here, and she's going to be telling us a little bit about herself, and we'll be hearing what you'll be getting. This book here, she is an author. If you put hashtag revenue in the comments and you enter to win. So let's get this party started tonight. We want to make this for you. Please start letting us know that you're even here. Like, tap the likes, write comments, share this. Please click the share button. Seems like there's hardly anyone here in the comments. I'm not seeing any comments. So we want to make this for you. And of course, we repurpose it. I know my audience is binging this on podcast, even still from like years ago. So the value is still there, but we want to know that those who are here, we're making this episode for you because you showed up, and that's what matters. So let me bring in, welcome to the show, Alexandra Karazi. Dr. Karazi, you have that medical degree and so a couple degrees, and you have the book and your consultation and your practice. Thank you so much for taking out the time to join us tonight on the Winsday show.
Thank you so much for having me, Jen.
Absolutely. And in true Winsday fashion, I'm going to put a 2-minute clock up, and we want to hear your full life story in 2 minutes from birth to what brought you to now. And we want to know the stuff that we can't find on LinkedIn, because of course we can find your resume on LinkedIn. And we know that you are incredible and you have all the accomplishments. Whoever a LinkedIn user is, you are blocking LinkedIn from sending your data to third parties. So if you do enter to win a prize, you will have to update your privacy settings. So Layla is in the comments and she can help you with those steps because we want you to enter to win. I can't even see who you are. So when you commented on LinkedIn, I know Layla can see that. But Dr. Karazi, I'm going to put up the clock. Could you please tell us where you were born and what brought you to now?
Yeah, hi, I'm Dr. Alexandra Karazi, as you mentioned, Jesse. I'm a cardiothoracic surgeon, so I'm a heart and lung surgeon. I'm in private practice currently in San Diego, California. I came to the United States in the early 90s when I was 6 years old, 1991. And from that point on, we lived in Los Angeles. I became interested first in science and pursued initially a PhD degree, but I just really missed working with people and kind of that day-to-day communication and motivation that I was getting from seeing real patients, which I had experience from through volunteer work. So as a result of that, I actually dropped out of the program that I was doing the PhD in, and I was able to get a master's degree with the research I had already done, and subsequently applied to medical school. And I really was drawn to surgery specifically. One thing I think nobody on LinkedIn knows about me is that my grandmother was a seamstress professionally. And so my mom was also very good at sewing. So I was sewing from a very young age. So it was one of those things where when it came time for that rotation in medical school and we rotate through the different specialties, it really was something that came easily to me, and that eventually evolved into me just being able to interact with patients better, and like I said, everything just came very easily at that point, and brought me to cardiothoracic surgery. So I trained initially in general surgery and then heart and lung surgery as well. I have a 5-year-old girl, which is something that I think people don't know as well. So
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm trying to get, I got to share a different screen here and turn off the clock. But I want to just go ahead and move into our first topic. But before we do that, I mentioned to the audience that if they put in hashtag revenue, they're going to be getting your book. So could you tell us a little bit about your book and what even, drew you to write it?
the heart of fear. So when I was training in surgery, one thing that was really significant throughout my training is that there was still a lot of leftover, I think, hostile environment in some cases, not all cases, but particularly from my early training years. So in general surgery residency. And I did notice a lot of that was just a byproduct of the fact that people were very stressed out, like, to put it simply. Um, and obviously, heart surgery, heart and lung surgery is a very niche field, but I don't think this applies to just surgeons. I think this applies stress, right? High stress environments often lead to very strained interactions, and that can negatively impact mental health. And I saw that. I personally saw that impact my colleagues, like other residents and people that were training, to the point where they discontinued their training and they found something else to do. And to me, it got me thinking if we could just all collaborate a little bit better together. And I wanted to start the conversation and contribute to the conversation that was already ongoing. And so how to do that in a meaningful, productive way really was the question for me. And in a way, I thought about, writing a memoir or communicating my life story, but I thought, well, how did I get this mindset? Like, where did it come from? And I got the mindset by interacting with people who heavily influenced me. So, that saying that the people around you, like the three closest people around you, are a true reflection of you. Well, that's really true, except in my case, it was a series of significant people that when I'm in a high stress situation, I look to what they would do, or I look to our interactions, or just even talking to them as friends and mentors. So I decided to interview those people. So I would do it between cases. Like, I got a pen and a piece of paper, like the old school pen and piece of papers, and I would write down, I would ask them questions. And one of them was a skydiving coach of mine, for example. And so, and he actually wrote his own book and survived a plane crash. And so a lot of a lot of that was, I wanted to figure out like how he saw the world and what he used to navigate high stress situations, because obviously he had been in some pretty high stress situations with the plane crash and being a master skydiver. And so I interviewed him, and that was just one example. So I interviewed these really amazing people that really kind of were a constellation of what made me who I am along the way. And it's just a small proportion. Of course, I could have interviewed many others, but these are the ones that I thought had really great stories that could help other people in high risk, high stress careers navigate their challenges in a way that was positive, constructive, meaningful, and didn't kind of give you that trauma from dealing with these really stressful jobs and stressful environments.
That's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing that knowledge with the world, because it is so very much needed. I know many of us probably have personal stories that we could share where this has been relevant to us. And if anyone is feeling vulnerable, we want to encourage you to share your comments. Keep us honest from the comments. But let's get into our first topic, Dr. Karazi. So humanizing healthcare. How do we do that? There's such a stigmatism, I feel like, around, or a stigma around just like corporate hospitals and brand hospitals becoming brands. And of course, people want to work with people, not brands. So the same applies in healthcare as well. So how do we humanize healthcare? And telling patient-centric stories, I know, could be a great way. Could you talk to us about this and tell us a little bit about it from the medical field? Because we don't normally talk to people from the medical field on humanizing the industry.
Yeah. So basically, it comes down to coming back to the why. And that's where a lot of this gets lost in the day to day sometimes, and especially in the healthcare industry. And as a doctor, you deal with a lot. There's a lot of documentation, day to day stuff. You're dealing with insurance companies, billing, et cetera. And sometimes that can be very stressful, overwhelming. And I think the biggest thing is coming back to why, like why you did this in the first place. And this is something I like to call mindset coordinates. And what that means is you have to figure out exactly where you are and build a map to where you want to go. So when I started this, I had an idea in my mind before I actually became a practicing physician of the kind of doctor I wanted to be, the kind of surgeon that I wanted to be. And then it's just coming back and really finding those mindset coordinates and aligning yourself with them, and being able to communicate and really be part of the community and the people that you're treating. And what I mean by that is, my why, for example, is the patients. And that's actually why, like I mentioned, I left my PhD program. Like, I didn't want to be a scientist. Like, I wanted to be with people. I wasn't interested in hours of research. I wanted to see patients and treat them. And so for me, the why was the patient care. And so when I went to go connect with the medical community and hopefully help other people find those mindset coordinates and align with them, I told stories about my interactions in the hospital daily and with patients, my interactions with patients. A lot of it has a humorous spin on it, on my TikTok platform. And then also with the other people in healthcare, so nurses, nurse practitioners, physicians assistants, et cetera. And the whole point of it was to show that we have a human side too. And as we're treating people, we also are human. And here's our perspective and how we see things that other people may not be aware of, and that help us kind of find that common human connection and share that with the world.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so important. And I talk about humanizing things in marketing all the time. So I love that you chose this topic of humanizing healthcare, because I hadn't really thought of it before. But, I think the world, we've talked about there's a trust pandemic, how people just don't trust people anymore. and that includes healthcare and their doctors. Unfortunately, it's the same thing with police departments and fire departments and businesses, and everyone's dealing with this lack of trust. We're afraid people are stealing our data. There's just so much spam out there. Like, put it in the comments, like, where do you have fear and you're not able to trust? When we see humans and we're able to humanize it, it closes that trust gap, and especially when we can hear real life stories, exactly like you were saying. So I apply that all the time to brands and marketing and live stream. That's why I love live streaming. And it's also why I love helping other businesses go live, because it helps them humanize their brand. And that's what it's done for me as well. But I don't know, what else might you add on telling the patient-centric story part of it?
I think you're absolutely right about the trust gap. And I think a lot of that did get worse with COVID. And we're seeing that play out. We're seeing that play out in medical malpractice. We're seeing that play out in our patient interactions, right? And I think a lot of it is because we're not humanizing ourselves enough. So I think firstly, it's important for you as a healthcare provider, in my case, as a doctor and a surgeon, to figure out like exactly what it is that you're trying to connect with people on. So for me, I wanted a platform to educate about healthcare. And also I wanted a platform in which patients could connect with me and people could connect with me and people in the community could connect with me, because as a surgeon, it's not just about operating on people and seeing the patients. It's also about other ways to help in the community. And then that also collectively helping in the community also directly affects patient care and overall community health. So it's about what is the best way to connect. And again, once you figure that out, you can build what I call a sequence of events. So once you figure out, here's where I am, and your end goal of exactly what you want that to look like what you want people to, how you think you could best maximize yourself so you could bring the most good to your community and to close that trust gap, as you say. So for me, building that sequence of events was finding ways to interact with the community. So whether you do that through TikTok, whether you do that through a branding coach, whether you do that through mainstream media and a platform where you can connect with reporters and comment on articles and then have that as education. So it's just about what's the best way to build connection. For me, the patient-centric stories part of it really started with where you are, and that's when you're talking about getting to know yourself or building yourself as a brand and getting other people to know you. You're really talking about how to best get yourself out in your local community first. And so the patient-centric stories started from patients I actually operated on. And then people would find me on the internet based on those stories. And I figured, oh, wow, so people are really looking into this and they're finding these articles that were written about me just based on patients I had actually operated on by the hospital system here. And based on that, people would reach out to me. And that's really what sparked this idea of me of, okay, so it starts with me sharing what I do with people, what I do with patients, and these patient-centric stories. And if I were more open about that, not only in my community, but also in my day-to-day patient care, then that's something that could close that trust gap.
You're so right. Absolutely. And I'm going to bring myself back in here. Thank you for explaining all of that. And it's so interesting how we see this scenario kind of playing out in healthcare, but also it plays out in all those other industries, so that's why I guess we have talked about it before of there being a trust pandemic, and this kind of goes into it again because it is sort of a viral thing. So if people are feeling that, it's not just you, and that's why we have to put ourselves out there a little bit and humanize it. And, unfortunately, since Charlie wasn't able to join us tonight, I would normally kick the next topic off to him. But since he can't join us, and he couldn't join us because of a family emergency. And, when we were pre-show, Dr. Karazi, you said that, you are a surgeon, so of course you are dealing with emergencies all the time, even just like before this call. And there may have been a chance that you wouldn't even have made this, which would have been totally fine, because what you do is way more important, obviously. But could you talk to us a little bit? This is kind of off script, but about the fact that emergencies happen, and sometimes we have to roll with the punches and understand that, we have to address the most important thing, which is human life first and foremost.
Yeah, that's a really poignant point, I think. So for me, my day just kind of started that way, like my daughter had to go to school, and at the same time I had some issues I had to deal with in clinic, and the emergency I had to deal with came in at the same time, and I already had an existing case and a meeting that was supposed to go on while that operation was being prepped by the anesthesiologist, which is kind of what happens at the beginning. The anesthesiologist takes the patient in the room, and that's about an hour of prep time in the cases of heart surgery. So I kind of had already a full day, and of course, none of that went as planned. That all went out the window when I had this emergency come in. I still had to take care of my existing patient. And this is the situation where, I like to refer to as you abandon the plan. And I come back to this often, but I'm like, okay, if you can't, the plan's not working, you have to abandon the plan, and you have to come up with a new plan of how to make things work. And a lot of that becomes prioritizing. I'm not a multitasker. I don't think multitasking does anyone any favors. So I prioritize quickly. And once I know what I have to do, in that order, I'm all in the flow, all in that moment. And so I flip my feelings pretty quickly. And what I mean by like flipping my feelings is I basically, instead of being stressed out, and this again comes back to knowing exactly what the emotion is that you're feeling. So I recognize, hey, I'm in this stressful space. Why am I stressed out? And a lot of that comes down to there's a lot going on, but it's recognizing like, hey, there's only one of me, and there's like one timeline. That's arguable depending on how metaphysical you are with all the quantum stuff. But for me, like, there's one timeline, there's one me, and I can only do one thing at once. And I think that's the key. So immediately I flip my feelings. I'm like, okay, I have to set things in a list of priorities. And now I have to accept that this is just our day, and we can stress about it, or we can be annoyed. But oftentimes in this high risk, kind of high stress career where, and not just medicine, but a lot of others where things happen unexpectedly all the time, certainly in surgery, especially when you're on call and you're a heart surgeon, these things happen all the time. And so you just have to very quickly prioritize, and once you've got your new schedule, you got to flip your feelings. You're like, okay, I've abandoned the old plan. Here's my new plan. And, you do not try to multitask. You just do everything in order. And then eventually, the day will run out, and things go to a different day if they're low priority. And you explain that, I tell patients that, like I tell them, this is unfortunate, I have good news and bad news. The bad news is your surgery's got to get pushed. But the good news is you're not as sick as the person I have to take care of right now. That has to go right now. Mm. That's just what it is. And, people, if you're honest, people do understand that. And I think, you just have to level with them and be upfront about it.
100%. It is hard at first, when you hear like, oh, all the plans are changing, or what was the phrase that you gave it? Like abandon your plans?
Plan. Yeah.
I love that. Abandon the plan. Sort of like tonight, Layla's messaging me in the background, like, should we remove Charlie? Just abandon the plan. He's not here, unfortunately, and it's okay. And we hope he's okay. So if everyone could just tag Charlie, actually in the comments, you could see his name. Layla, if you could tag him first so people can see him and just send him good wishes. We hope he's well. We hope his family is well. And we absolutely look forward to having him on the show again another time. And, with that, before we move on, I just want to ask Dr. Kazi, is there anything else you might share on the topic of emergencies, and maybe from the perspective of like being that sales or marketer who is like, um, you know, you feel like things are an emergency sometimes. And how do you like scale what is like prioritize what is an emergency and what is not an emergency? Because sometimes, especially in sales, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't get back to that person. This is an emergency. I got to go back to this. And we start to panic, and then we're not showing up as our best selves. So like, what could you like share to kind of help us with that?
I think absolutely. I think the biggest thing is really the mindset. And the good news is, and I talk about this in my book as well, if anyone's interested, but I think mindset is not set in stone. Like, I think mindset is something that you can learn. And I think the biggest point that I make is that you have to have this mindset of, I don't know what today is going to bring. And you can have your schedule, and I certainly do. I have a schedule, and I've got a personal assistant who's lovely, who helps me with that schedule. And I've got, like office staff and a lot of people helping me. I'm very, very blessed to have all of those things. But at the end of the day, something can come and just interrupt your schedule. And the mindset you have to have as someone in this type of work, this line of work, certainly surgery, is that you don't know that can happen at any time, and that you don't actually know what's going to happen today. You could start your day, like my days, I can tell you, Jesse, are very rarely like as scheduled. Like, there's usually somewhere something in between. And the biggest advice I have is really like the multitasking, I think, is the worst thing you can do. I think once you've settled on a task and prioritize the task, and give yourself grace and recognize that you can't do it all. There's only one of you. And I think there's this sort of pressure on us collectively to do all of this multitasking. But once you've accepted that you can't, and you've prioritized your tasks, to really just get into the flow of whatever it is you're doing, and almost hyper focus on it, to the point where you're not thinking about those other things, because they will hinder your work performance, which I know in sales is very important. So I that would be my advice from the surgical standpoint.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And I love how you said, just give yourself the grace to focus on one thing at a time, because we sometimes want to focus on so many things. But real quick, just a couple logistics. I saw a few other comments from a new LinkedIn user. So if Layla, you could help make sure that this person, whoever was saying hello from Texas, same person who maybe said, hello, Jesse, came to listen to you. Thank you for being here. I want you to be able to enter to win prizes. So let's get you the privacy settings. But we also got a few other really great comments. So let me get into some of them. So we've got, let's see, here we got Iftkar. It's a lot to manage at the same time, Alexandra, marketing and patients. Also, how do you manage new patient flow and provide the best to the current ones?
Yeah. So, and again, this is a great question. And I love this because it really does come back down to my multitasking. So I do think that, once I've got my schedule, and I try to schedule gaps. So I'll try to have like an hour for responding to patient emails, or where I'm just doing that, or an hour, or I should say phone calls, emails, catching up on charting. Like that's that 1 hour. And that kind of time gives me the space that if an emergency does come in, okay, that was like just my charting hour, we can tack that on to the next hour. And I have gotten to the point where I am pretty busy. So on days that I'm on call, I try not to schedule any elective cases. And then at some point, you do have to recognize, and a lot of that is being, you have to also be the best version of yourself, and be really good with yourself. So I'm always making sure that I'm getting sleep, I'm eating, I'm happy. I schedule self-care. I schedule, and I can't do everything every day. So not every day. Sometimes I don't get to do stuff after school with my daughter. Other days, I don't finish charting and I have to push that to the next day, and my biller will get kind of annoyed, but I'm like, you know what, that just wasn't on the list for today. And when I do get really busy, then I will tell my office to refer people to one of my partners, because I just really want to make sure that I'm focused on the patients that I have and I give them the best care that they can get. And then at the same time that I'm also really taking care of myself, because in order for me to provide that best care, I need to be good first, if that answers your question.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it does. And let us know if it doesn't. Iftikhar, and I apologize if I'm saying your name incorrectly, but put your comments in. We'd love to hear, what else you have to say on that. And we've got Brandon here who's like, hello from Birmingham, Alabama. At the University of Birmingham at Birmingham, we have studied Dr. Alexandra Karazi's book. And thank you for writing an amazing book that gives oxygen to the soul and healing to our hearts. Your book transforms our thoughts and experiences to build positive energy for a future that is more meaningful and positive. Hashtag revenue. I love that, Brandon. Thank you so much. And then we have Mark Jarrow here. Mark is asking, have you ever had a patient with an Apple Watch show a heart issue that you treated?
Thank you. So first of all, Brandon, to kind of comment on your question or your very kind paragraph here. Thank you so much. And I think that this is really important for me to hear, because it does mean that I accomplished what I wanted to with writing my book, because a lot of that was with connecting with people. Like I had one of my mentors, who is an OBGYN, she actually read my book. She was in my book. I wrote about her too, but and she said, hey, had I read this book when I was in medical school, I think I would have considered surgery and not OBGYN, because of like how passionate you seem about what you do. And so I thought to myself, wow, if that could influence people in that way, then it's done its job. If it can influence at least one person in that way, then it's done it. That's my why for writing it. And so for you to say this, to bring this to me, is extremely meaningful, because it warms my heart to see that it has influenced other people and perhaps altered their life path as well. So thank you. And Mark, I think the second question was Mark, not me specifically, but I know a lot of the cardiologists talk about this. Same with Aura rings. So I haven't, but usually because I'm a subspecialist, I don't usually diagnose as much. Like usually once people get to me, they've already been diagnosed with whatever the issue is. So I'm probably not the person that's doing a lot of the diagnosing, unless it's post-op issues. That's why, but other specialists do. Yes.
That's an important question. What did you mean by Aura rings? I'd never heard of someone taking that to a heart and lung surgeon.
Oh, well, not to me. I mean, there's one. And then after I noticed she wore one, a few of my patients have worn them and just told me, on post-op visits mostly, that, oh, my Aura ring said X, Y, or Z. I don't really do anything with the information. I still mainly look at the objective findings. So I look at your wounds. I look at your fluid balance, like how swollen things are and things like that. And I also look at all the other medical data that's available to me. But I think it's definitely a new frontier, right? Like it's coming. Like I think the AI and technology is definitely going to transform how we're seeing patients and what we're able to do with it.
Oh man, that's so incredible. I love that. And those are really great comments and questions, everyone. Thanks for posting those and keep them coming. Of course, I want to say once again, thank you to Layla for her help and Cherry Assistant. I had that QR code up here a second ago if you want to go back and check them out. You're going to be seeing a little bit from them here in just a moment, but we still have a few more hot topics that we're going to be getting into right after these messages. I want to show you how to do a voicemail drop. And voicemail drops can be really creative ways to reach your audience. And, many of us are spending a lot of time on the phone making calls, but hey, I'm here over in marketing to report that you can do a mass voicemail drop. And let me show you how. Let me log into my account here, Reviting. The hard part about any campaign is knowing your audience and knowing what you're going to say to them. Yeah, definitely check out Lead Magic if you haven't already. So what I love about Lead Magic is their lead scraper. You can see that right here. Also, another thing are the technographics. Then import that into High Level. So High Level for me, it's white labeled, it's app.reviting.com. So when you go in here, you're going to want to, you can get your contacts in here however you want, with the ones that you want to do the voicemail drop with. Once you know who you're sending your voicemail drop to, create a new workflow from scratch. And you can add in your trigger, which would be the tag that you add. For me, and for this example, I'll go ahead and say tag added, and it will be anyone who downloads my free LinkedIn 5-day challenge workbook that's on my LinkedIn page. And if you get that, we'll go ahead and wait just for a minute, save action, and then we're going to do voicemail. All right, so now I need to get a voicemail and I need an audio file. And luckily I have this just like free online tool. You can go to 123apps or online-voice-recorder.com. You can see it on the screen. And I am just going to record a voicemail. Hey, it's Jessie Lezak. Wanted to follow up with you about the 5-day challenge workbook and course that you downloaded and see what you thought of it, if you've had a chance to complete it, and how I can support you on your journey to LinkedIn growth. Give me a call back anytime. My cell phone number is 510-335-9355. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. We'll move this in a little bit. Move that in just a tad. Save. Open so I can't see. So here is my recording. There it is. It's loading. Hey, it's Jessie Lezak. Wanted to follow up with you about the 5-day challenge workbook and course that you done. And that's how people will get into the voicemail drop. And I think you should try a voicemail drop too. And if you would like some support on that, I would love to help you. Just give me a call. You already heard my number in the recording, 510-335-9355, or you can email me at Jessie, just my first name, JESSIE @reviting.com. That's REVETING.com. Hope to help you with your voicemail drop here soon.
This is Mike, also known as Clean with Mike on Twitter. Mike hired a virtual assistant from Cherry Assistant about 2 years ago. Now he has a $50K per month business fully managed by a remote operator in South Africa. His VA from South Africa does the following: closing inbound leads on the phone, Yelp and Google and Facebook, manages his CRM and Gulf High Level, deals with rescheduling, cancellations, any issues, hires and manages the cleaners, and sends them daily reports and updates. Mike has a fully cash flowing business managed by a remote operator for only $8 an hour. You can also hire a US equivalent worker in the Philippines, South Africa, Latin America for a fraction of the cost with Cherry Assistant. Be like Mike and grow your business with offshore staff.
Oh man, that was incredible. Thank you so much to High Level and Cherry Assistant for sponsoring tonight's episode. I think most of you know I'm at the High Level Summit. I'm in Dallas. That's why you're seeing this different background. I'm staying with some friends, Matthew and Carly Coder. And I think I'm getting some background. So maybe mute some things behind you if you're able to. Dr. Krezi, I did just mute you. I don't know where the feedback on your end was coming from, but yeah, I just want to talk up High Level a little bit and let you all know that I am helping people do what I do. I've become an affiliate with High Level, and I want to help you become an affiliate with High Level too. There's a 40% commission on everyone you get signed up for High Level. And I think that, it's been such a great experience. I love the product. So just try it out. Just try the extended 30-day trial. If you do, you'll get 3 months free actually of my coaching program. And then we will start to build it out. And if you don't like it, it'll just get deleted and it's fine. But if you do like it, you can continue to make it grow. But I guarantee you, you will be able to monetize it so fast. And I'm at the summit and I'm hearing how fast people are monetizing it and how much they're monetizing it. I mean, people are making 7, 8 figures off of high level. It's incredible. You're going to want to get involved with this. So I digress. Keep us honest from the comments. And now let's get into our third topic, which is building your reputation and crafting an image as a surgeon. So we talk about crafting your image a lot here, but never as a surgeon. So let's think about it from that angle for a second. Could you kick us off on that topic, Dr. Karazi?
Sure, Jesse. This is a great topic because, like we talked about previously, AI and all these social platforms are coming in, and a lot of that's wonderful. Like, you just kind of have to surrender to that because that's going to help us as clinicians, and that's going to, I think, create more connectivity with our patients. But then the lines do become more blurred, right? So there's this kind of old school image of surgeons and what you think of, or at least even when I was training, which was not that long ago, Jesse. Um, but there's this kind of image of what a surgeon was supposed to be like, and there were these definitions of professionalism that were kind of bestowed upon us. And a lot of that, I don't know if you've seen, for example, there's the whole debate of female surgeons wearing bikinis and that being found by patients on Instagram. That was a whole big thing a few years back. And so then this is where this becomes an important topic, because you want to portray yourself in a way that humanizes you, and you have to do, for me, it came down to number one, everything I do with authenticity to who I am, because for me, it became critical that even if something is perceived badly, or if something it doesn't work out, at least I can say, well, at least I was my authentic self and I portrayed that authentic self, and not that's not going to be for everyone. And I was working with a coach a few months back, and she said, well, what if, and this comes back to that concept of flipping your feelings, right? What if the patient, if you're living in your authenticity and not what you think you should be as a professional surgeon, not with this image that's been that you've inherited, but what if you just are who you are, and you attract the patients that then are meant for you? And it blew my mind. I was like, I never thought about it that way. I kind of always had this as a, this image of what I was supposed to look like or supposed to do, and I never thought to myself, like, well, it's very exhausting when that doesn't necessarily align with who you are. So I thought at that time, I needed to portray myself authentically. And also that authentic connection, I can tell you, has helped with patients, because they appreciate it. I think that whether they like it or not, whether it's something they're used to or not, I think one thing is people can really hone in and tell when you're being authentic, and when you're being genuine with them. And regardless of our backgrounds or our cultural beliefs or anything like that, or all those things and factors, which are important to a certain extent, but we all are just looking for genuine connection, and patients are looking for someone that's going to take care of them, for someone that's going to be accountable, for somebody that they know truly cares, right? That's what you're looking for, regardless of all of those other things. And you want to portray the most authentic version of yourself that you can, so that people get to know you and get to see that side of you. So that's really what I think the core is of crafting your image. It's not so much crafting your image, it's about highlighting those things about you that are authentic and communicating that to the people in your community and your patients and the people that you take care of.
That's so beautiful. I'm so glad there are doctors out there like you, Dr. Karazi. I muted you again. I'm not exactly sure where the feedback's coming from but Anyway, we are toward the end of the episode, and I wanted to make sure and share a few things. So I've been sharing a few QR codes here. Secta is a headshot AI tool, and I tried all these different headshot AI tools because, of course, we want to humanize ourselves and post our content, get it out there. But hiring a professional photographer all the time is not always feasible. So try Secta. It's the best I've found so far. If you use the QR code, you'll get 20% off. That is my affiliate link. So I do get a little bit of a commission. And then there's StreamYard. That's what we're using to stream tonight. And I help businesses also go live on LinkedIn. So we can either help you with coaching and you can do it yourself, or we can do it for you. But StreamYard is the tool that we use, and I'm a big fan of it. And I think that the dogs in the background are a big fan of it too. If you can hear them, we've got more Winsday dogs. And Cherry Assistant. So thank you to Layla for helping in the comments and helping with pre-show and everything. You saw the ad. They do more than just the Canva and the creative. There's so much they're doing. You saw that ad. How much money they're making after they starting to work with Cherry Assistant. So find out how Cherry Assistant could help you, and you can use that QR code, and that is my affiliate link with Cherry Assistant. And I've been sharing this one as well. But now is the time to give away prizes. So did you enter to win prizes? We put all those comments up there right here. So text or comment to win high level, headset, personal branding, or hashtag revenue. It looks like we have 4 entries on high level, 2 on the headset, 1 on personal branding, and 3 on revenue. So let's go. We've got to give away some prizes. But before we do, we have the guru of the week, the guru of the week. And we were going to have images to put up, but the image includes the image of both gurus. Unfortunately, we don't have both because, unfortunately, Charlie had the emergency, isn't able to come up and talk about his guru. But I'm still going to put them both up. But Dr. Karazi, could you tell us who your guru of the week is and why you think our audience should go follow them?
Back to you should. For me, this is a mentor because she not because we're in the same in medicine, which she happens to be a medical oncologist, and she's wonderful and a very caring doctor, but she really had the kind of life that I wanted, and that's how mentorship should be built. It shouldn't be necessarily based on your career or the things that you're doing, but on, does this person have the kind of life that you would want? And one thing about Dr. Schaefer is, in addition to being a medical oncologist, she was very committed to helping people craft an image of their authentic self. So when I started working with her, I didn't even really know where to start. I just said, well, like I didn't have an internet presence. I didn't have a social media presence. I didn't have any of those things. But what was important for me was, what's the best way to communicate this? Because I have no background like you, Jesse, in like marketing or anything, right? Like I had no experience. And so she's a doctor too. So she understands some of those struggles we go through with the imaging that we have kind of drilled into us from our training years. And so she was like really good at just talking to me as a human being and extracting the information that made me who I am and was important to me. And so I think that that's who she is in her core. She's really someone who helps others like craft an authentic image of themselves and she works with not just doctors, but she works with people across different career paths and life paths. And she's just this really wonderful person to follow and keep up with all the work that she's doing around the country with mindset motivation stuff, her coaching practice, and the speaking engagements she's doing. She's really influential and has been very influential in my life.
I love that. And could you just say her name one more time?
Yeah, Dr. Ludmila Schaefer.
Ludmila Schaefer. And we'll be tagging her in the comments, and we encourage you to tag her in the comments. Go follow her, go connect with her, reach out to her, let her know that you learned about her here on Winsday. And we really honor you, Ludmila. I hope I said that correctly. You've obviously made an impact. So you are this week's Guru of the Week. And Matt Green, unfortunately, Charlie's not here to represent you. And I really don't know much about you, but I will say I love the like back and forth with Sam McKenna. On LinkedIn. I think it's so fun to watch. I love your realness. There's lots of things I agree with you on. If you're not following Matt Green, definitely go follow him. He's got a good audience. He's doing some great things in marketing and sales. Let's give him a shout out. Maybe Charlie can come on the show sometime and tell us a little bit about why he chose him. But we've got the Guru of the Week, but now we got to give away prizes. And one more time before we give away the prizes, for anyone who might have joined late, Dr. Karazi, could you please tell people about the book they're going to be receiving from you if they win on the Comment to Win prize drawing that we'll do for #Reveting. So start plugging in #Reveting if you haven't already. But yeah, could you tell us about your book one more time?
The Heart of Fear, it's a short read, and it's based on a series of interviews I had with people in my life that have been influential in some way from the mindset motivation standpoint. This book hinges on the fact that I think mindset can be learned, and I think anyone can strive in a high risk, high stress career, because you hear that a lot with like, people think that mindset is fixed, right? And a lot of it is, okay, well, that's just not for me. I would get too stressed out. But I think not. Like, I think that there are ways to expand that and to deal with stressful situations in a productive way. So the book interviews these people. Who have I gotten there? A professional skydiver, a stunt woman, a professional race car driver. So people across all specialties, doctors, etc., that deal with these incredibly life or death situations, high risk, high stress situations, and navigate them and thrive where they are. So, and it's lessons from them that I thought stuck with me and helped me, and the book is me conveying them to anybody else that may be interested in expanding their mindset in this specific arena.
I love that. You are so generous for sharing that. And okay, I got to give away these prizes so I can get over to the high level after party. So let's do this. I'm about to share my screen and give these away. We're going to start off with the high level prize. Let's do this. We've got 4 entries. And I think Brandon might be I think high level got picked up when we were plugging in the high level link, Layla. So yeah, Brandon, look at you. You won the high level swag pack. So Layla's going to be reaching out to you, Brandon. We need to get your address and we need to get your shirt size so that we can coordinate with high level to get you your swag pack. So please coordinate with Layla. She'll be emailing you from www@reveting.com or connecting with you on LinkedIn, whichever is easier. Sometimes if she's not connected with you, she may not be able to message you, but she is here in the comments right now. So connect with her, and we can't wait to get you your swag pack. We hope you'll post a picture of it once you get it and give us a tag. And then let's give away the next one. So Headset Advisor. We have a headset from Headset Advisor, and it's either it can only go to winners in the US or Canada. Brandon or Iftkar. Iftkar, congratulations. You are the winner of the headset. If you are entering to win from outside of the country or outside of US and Canada, then we will have to give the prize to the other. So Brandon, if that's the case. So let's go ahead and give away the next one. Yeah, we put all these that fine print in the intro video throughout the episode, so be sure to check that out. But personal branding, looks like there is 1 entry on personal branding, so we'll go back and manually find who put that one in, and let's go ahead and give away Dr. Karazi's prize. Here we go, #revenue. Who's getting the book? There are 3 entries. There is Carly, Brandon, Erica Stover. Brandon, tonight is your night. It's a lucky night for you, Brandon. So yes, please connect with Layla so we can get your details, because we definitely need your shipping address so we can get you this book. And thank you so much for entering to win these prizes. We can't wait to get them to you. Thank you so much, Dr. Karazi, for making time out of your extremely busy schedule and important schedule. Thank you for the service that you provide to humanity. And before we go, could you just please let listeners know that where they could reach you if they want to reach out to you about, maybe not your practice, but maybe your consultation or your book? How can they find you?
Sure. So I'm on Instagram. That's probably the best way, is to just DM me on Instagram, Alexandra Karazi, MD, all one word. My website is also great, www.alexkarazi.com. And I'm on TikTok. Please check out my platform. It really is that humanizing, humorous side of healthcare that I love, and it does, I think, connect with a lot of you guys, a lot of people, and that's at Heart of Fear. So those are the three main ones, and of course, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm pretty responsive, and I like hearing from you guys on LinkedIn. So.
That's incredible. Thank you again so much for joining. And real quick before we go, next week we have 2 more hot guests coming on. We've got Jeremy Grandstaff and Mark Schechter. You're not going to want to miss this. Just go to the Reveting page to register for next week. Another great discussion. But thank you again, Dr. Karazi. I hope you have a great night. And thank you again to everyone in the audience who joined us. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, of course. I'm going to go ahead and close us out with our outro video, but have a great night, everyone.
You know who made it.